everyone, I'm Shaheen from The Content Mix, and I'm excited to be here with Yasmina Kazitani, who's a seasoned marketer who recently became a partner in a strategic advisory firm called SKLS Consulting, which is based in London. Thanks so much for joining us, Yasmina.
Thank you so much, Shaheen, for inviting me.
It's great to have you. So could you just start out just telling us a bit more about yourself in your own words?
Sure, thank you. So my name is Yasmina Kazitani, and I'm an Algerian and born and raised. Moved around, let's say, the world, if that's correct. Few countries, few experiences. I started my career in PR and communication, so I have a journalism, like Shaheen, background, but didn't last that much. I mean, like I was in the job for maybe less than 2 years, and I was like, nah, that's not my passion. I love more marketing. You know, I attended so many corporate things. I was like, okay, that's my thing. So I moved to the marketing side, and for the last 20 years, I've been doing that across various markets. So the UK, Europe, Middle East, Asia, USA, and it was a fantastic and fabulous experience for me. And last year was kind of a big leap of faith from my side because as a corporate person for the last 20 years, I never really thought of starting my own business. And three of previous colleagues, friends I worked with, set up this consultancy firm, and they asked me to join them. So since then, I'm the one of the co-founders and partners, and it's amazing how much you need sometimes to believe in yourself to make it happen.
Yeah, so it's definitely an interesting time to start a new business in the middle of a pandemic. So could you tell us a bit about what SKLS Consulting does and kind of the vision behind the business?
Sure. I think that the pandemic was the right time to start because everybody was kind of, in the first few months, everybody was kind of panicking, stressing out, never had this pandemic, this situation, this crisis ever. And everyone thought that, it's going to be a big collapse of businesses, which I'm sure that some of them, if they do not transform, will end up, closing the doors. But in reality, we have been, working quite, extensively for the last couple of months. I did not expect it, but I was kind of working, with venture capital because SKLS came up in a very specific niche, which is the startups. So eventually, when venture capital will fund a project or a company, they will put money into it, right? And obviously, you want to have a return on your investments. Sometimes it takes 3, 5, 4 years. Sometimes it fails. And the failure is not because of the product. So what we do is we help this venture capital when they fund this company to, kind of structure the startups, because the entrepreneur who is leading this doesn't have all the experience from a process point of view, a human capital point of view, so, and the structure point of view. So sometimes they need this help to develop their sales department and exactly know which kind of profile they want to have on the ground and make these people work efficiently. Some of them had no clue. They were like, techie savvy people, but when it comes to the business, they were clueless. So that's why SKLS came and filled this gap. So that's kind of where we've been doing quite a lot of jobs across the region. On the other hand, because of the background I had in marketing and brand expansion and growth, we ended up with having this medium-sized companies who wanted to explore new market. So, giving an example of having a Canadian food brand connected with us again, and we're like, we loved what you have done for in your career, and we would love to kind of have you to advise us. And we've been now working with them for the last 4 months, expanding this brand into the US and in 2022 into Europe. So again, it's very I'm not going to say it's a wide spectrum, but we are really kind of looking to help this venture capitalist, but also helping this medium who would like to expand into new markets and having a new adventure, if I can put it this way.
So it sounds like you've hit the ground running with clients and everything very quickly. Like, did you already have contacts in this world?
Well, to be honest, I think that as a marketeers, I always, let's say, advise clients to say, we have to have a holistic approach and we have to have a strategy. But when it came to SKLS, again, we had this holistic approach. We had this plan, and we started working on it. But I would probably say that we had luck, because luck is something that, sometimes business entrepreneurs and owners, fail to acknowledge. It takes you sometimes to go through a lot to get it. We started, talking, I ran few webinars, connected with people, did all the marketing things. And out of the blue, someone out of all these activities came to us, and he was a venture capitalist, and he was, one of the big firms. And I loved what you were saying. I love, the structured way you do it. I'm a data person, so I like things in box.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, amazing, can we have a talk? And it started from there. So we started with this, project with him, and he referred us to others. And then the ball kept rolling. It was kind of fantastic. I mean, like, it's kind of, again, maybe I would probably say it's luck. It's the adventure of life. I don't know. This is kind of how I would describe it as a human being.
Nice. So, I mean, what the consulting firm does goes beyond marketing. It sounds like a business advisory on different levels, right? But could you tell us about your role and how marketing plays into that?
I'm the bossy person who is always kind of, stalking everyone in the team. I don't think I am seen as the marketer person. It's like, oh my God, here we go again. She's gonna ask us to do this and that, and she's gonna lead us into doing this. So the consultancy is based on the strength of the partners. So as I mentioned earlier, they are mainly sales growth people, seniors in their jobs. So again, they also run different other businesses on the side. And this is kind of their forte. Mine is business development, brand expansion, marketing strategy and implementations. And we had lovely people, but very experienced ones calling us actually from all the posting, all the information we've done. And that's maybe due to the furlough last year's and the loss of jobs. People contacted us, and they were expert in financial, they were expert, in training, leadership coaching, supply chain engineering. And we start building a library of experts. So we will ping them whenever we have project, that is related to their expertise. So then it's kind of not only what we do, but we also offer the best value for the people who are working with us, and with, international expert in the room.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you have any examples of like the kinds of projects that you're involved in?
Oh my God, yeah. I will few of them, but do you want one? Do you want two? Do you want just tell me?
Whatever you like. It can be more than one if it's, but just at the high level,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some nuggets project, I would probably say this this food chain in Canada, which do Mediterranean food. So it's a very Canadian, let's say, brand that has lovely things. And when they got in touch with us, first of all, it was kind of, I have no experience in food industry. Let's be honest on that. But when they contacted us and asked for my advisory, I discovered, that fundamental marketing and strategy applies everywhere. It's tweak. You have to twist and tweak things, to customize it to the market. But you kind of set up some fundamentals for your client first, because any success starts by putting structure, process, and that kind of help enormously when you're running a department, you're running a brand, what it is, so I think within 4 months they kind of saw that, oh my God, okay, that's why it was a bit of a messy thing. They had a department, they have agencies, suppliers, but within that it was kind of a bit of an interesting mixture, and putting things into, I'm not going to say boxes, but putting things very simply and clearly makes the job kind of more efficient. So I always kind of have a tendency to say to clients, if it's too, if someone takes too much time to explain it, it means that they don't master it, because anything is simple. Like any, I always compare it to cooking. you have the ingredient, this is what you have to do. If you're not following through, that means that, it's either the recipe has been not explained clearly, so people are just mixing things, or that the person reading does not understand the instructions. So let's kind of find the gap in between. You see, another example is just again a software development company based in the Middle East, who are kind of growing exponentially, and they are it's out of the blue success, pandemic, they kind of start skyrocketing. They came to us and they were like, what do we do? Well, again, you have to look at the whole business model. You have to advise them, go in depth. I'm not gonna say like all the consultancy, it takes ages. No, if you are good at what you're doing, you can do it quickly and be agile and make it happen for the client. And from that, we're working with this business and to scale it up quickly, but also to expand. So the guys were just operating in the GCC. Now we're having a project for the Q2 and Q3 to expand into North Africa and the Mediterranean, which they never thought could be possible as quickly and as fast as we put it together.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Speaking of like industries, I was just curious, like, what are the range of industries that you've worked with in the past? I know you've worked with a few different ones. So.
From a background point of view, I started my career in government, telecommunications. So telecommunication meaning that mobile, when they were, setting up in North Africa the mobiles, and that was like ages ago, 23 years ago. When mobile was like something very rare, like gold. That means I'm very old. I have also worked in the automotive, industry, which was amazing because working with a French and Japanese brand, two different culture, two different approach to business, two different approach to KPIs, to return on investments. It's kind of, a big learning curve there. Worked my last kind of, let's say, industry was in the e-learning. And within the e-learning, I've gone through the platform, so the technology, open source and SaaS. I worked for two different brands there, and content development in terms of producing. So I think and it's kind of various, and and on the side, I also do a lot of mentoring, free mentoring, as and coaching for people. And if I have to include this, it's kind of technology, application, gaming. What else did I do? What I'm helping some startups, pharmaceutical, education. So yeah, I think that the list is growing, and you don't realize until someone asks you the question.
Yeah, that's an impressive list of industries. And I mean, how different is the approach from one industry to the next?
Wow, that's $1 million question, right?
Yeah.
I would probably say that from what I have, from the moment I started to up to today, there is two things. Every industry has its specificity, for sure. It has a different way of approaching things, but the methodology is the same. So again, whatever you're starting, I always start with assessing, reviewing, checking what's going on, what is the current things that you're doing, how are you doing it, how good are you doing it, what are your process, what are your KPIs, something like that. And then dig deep into the details of what is specific to your industry versus another. Sometimes you can feel that some industries are sharing the best, say, same guidelines. Some of them are slightly different. Some of them are totally different. But again, the principle is the same. It's like cooking again. The baseline are sometimes the same. The cake is a cake, but if you're doing a cupcake or you're doing a cheesecake, the slightly difference is like it's a patisserie at the end, right?
Right. So could you talk about like how content plays into what you do, and how important is content in a growth strategy?
Well, I'll probably say that I always, as a marketeer, I believe that content is the king, the queen, the kids, the kingdom, wherever you want to place it. because I always smile when I see this post of king is, the platform is queen and the content is, no, the content is everything. Because if you know who are you trying to talk to, what do you want to position the service, the brand to, and you are putting your, all the marketing emotional trigger into it, because that's also another important fact, then the platform is just the channel, to reach these people. So always think, who am I trying, to reach? Who am I trying to talk right now? Who do need this service, or how can I create this service? It's not only about how my service product will fit into this market, because talking, for example, or working with new tech startups, we need to create the need. Like Steve Jobs created the need of having an iPhone, right? That's none of us needed something like a mini computers in your hand while talking, you kind of multitasking, checking your emails. So again, the content in this approach is the most important things. And then you build everything around it, because once you know the way to do it is the most easier.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Do you have an example of like a content campaign that worked really well for you in the past?
Oh my God.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah. Because you think about many things and you're like, okay, which one?
Yeah.
Okay. I remember one I've done during the pandemic, right? So during the pandemic, I got connected with a government, semi-government body in the Saudi who wanted to push the online education, right? And obviously, for the people who do not know, so just to put the context, to set the context here, in the Saudi in 2020, the internet was not as good, at least the structure. Penetration is good, but again, the structure is kind of, you have a call with someone and it can go, oops, he's not here anymore. And for this organization to want to educate and push people to do online, because the kids are still at home, so it's not something that is just we would like to do it. It's like mandatory. People, it's the holidays, we want to prepare people for September to ensure that everybody goes online, right? So how do you educate, I'm not going to say 40 million people, because there are 40 million people living in Kingdom, but who are the target audience? So going through all this to kind of make the story short, we use the blended approach, because sometimes people are like, no, go only digital. No, sometimes people don't really have this kind of things, right? I'm not going to check my Facebook, because Facebook is not that popular there. Twitter, Instagram, yes, but you're not going to find many men's on on Instagram. And on Twitter, they usually kind of are very shy to kind of interact. So we approached the things in a blended approach, strategic things. And what we used also, which was quite new for them, was a social mobile, because they are very WhatsApp oriented, right? And that made the tricks, because then people were like, wow, we got enough things to happen. And that was kind of an interesting way to see that. In my point of view, we planned it over the 3 months, because usually this is how campaigns, at least in a long term, medium term. I'm not going to say long term, sorry, but in medium terms will work. Within less than 3 weeks, we hit it the target. So that was kind of what proves that sometimes you kind of have to understand clearly what you want to achieve and who you would like to reach out to. So if you're clear on your profile, the content will just make it happen with the platforms that is related to it. So I think that's one of the examples that I can remember. Yeah, I can remember. There is food, there is other things. So yeah, go ahead.
Great. No, that's a great example. And then I just wanted to ask if you have a favorite like content channel right now, or content or social media that you think is up and coming.
I would probably say that I'm a Clubhouse quite regularly to moderate some rooms on marketing strategy and on business startups, because I operate them with some venture capital clients or friends over there, and help also small and medium businesses to take it to the next stage in terms of what do I need to do. The good thing about this, I'm not going to kind of say like Clubhouse is amazing. It has also its negative points, but the good thing is just to kind of connect quite easily with people and share with them. Where, for example, I am a really big, let's say, fan of LinkedIn, and I have been there for like since LinkedIn, opened the doors. I like it because it's very professional. You can share, insight. You can share content. I love writing, even if I don't do the journalism like you, Shaheen, and as good. But I like to share in my blogs some, few tips on a business, on marketing, on anything that is related. That is my passion, actually, sales enabling, and that helps a lot. And but yeah, that's kind of short answer is I am a LinkedIn user and a Twitter user, but in the last few days, I'm also a Clubhouse moderator. So here we go.
Very cool. I'm actually not on Clubhouse yet. You'll have to send me an invite.
I will. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it to run a room there with content. With your tips, I think we can make it happen.
Very cool. So I wanted to just ask for a few of your tips. First of all, any tips on productivity?
Oh, wow. Productivity working remotely or productivity in general?
Oh, in general, yeah. But it could be working remotely. Yeah.
Okay. So I think that I have moved into working remotely 10 years ago because working for the e-learning, industry, they were the first adopters of this methodology because we had offices and subsidiaries around the region. Sometimes it was not needed to be at the office, and developers were somewhere, the content was somewhere else. So the traveling was kind of creating challenges. So and since then, I started being very looking really at what can I do to be more productive. Because when you started 10 years ago, it's kind of like when I see my husband right now working remotely because of the pandemic. So he comes home and he kind of roaming around. It's like, no, you have to have habits. So my habit, let's say, is since I started was to kind of educate myself, because working from home doesn't mean that I'm just roaming in pajamas and so I need to wake up at certain time. I have a habit, for example, I wake up at 6:30, get the kids ready for school, and I make sure that I drop them at school, and then it's me time for half an hour. And during this half an hour, I would be kind of not touching my emails, going through the news, updates on what's going on the economic side, the political across Europe. I'm interested in many regions because, as we have many clients around, so I need to keep updated. And when I'm sipping my coffee, it's kind of me time reading for half an hour. So I'm just kind of disabling everything else. I'm not answering WhatsApps, messages, whatever. No, I just want to sink in and try to figure out what's going on. The last 5 minutes, I'm kind of going through my schedule because I know that I have a planning, and I always book, my things to make sure that within this hour I have this, in this hour I have this, so I know what I do. And I'm also an old fashioned person. I love writing my list on a notepad, and I love, I will show you. My kids laugh about this because this is what I use. I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of colored pens. So I have, let's say, a colored. If it's pink, it means that that's kind of less urgent. If it's red, this is kind of need to be done today, and at the end of the day, I just cross, and if the thing that is red has not been done, I'll have to finish it. And honestly, I think that this few habits of that I put in myself through have helped me to work quite easily and with the performance, because I reply to emails. People's like, my God, you not kind of, I emailed you and I got the answer within the day. Yes, because you know what you have to do. And that's what I also share with my teams on the ground and my client, and say, guys, if you do not, if you do not plan, if you don't do it clearly, you're gonna get up in a mess at the end of the day. You're like, oh my God, I have so much to do that, it's only 12 hours of the day. Well, you can make the most of it, actually. You can read, watch TV, have some me times with friends time, family times. So I know that, for example, between 8 and 9 is my family time. So we sit down, we call the grandparents, I don't do anything. And after that, it's reading time for me, just personally, so I can refresh my mind. Otherwise, you get caught up and you're unproductive, because then, your health goes down, your mental health goes down, and that's not good. So that's kind of my advice.
Yeah, no, it's really important, and yeah, great advice. So next, just who's like a professional role model or a source of inspiration for you?
It's going to sound pretentious, but I would probably say me, a better version of me in 10 years. That's what I keep telling myself. And I'll tell you why. I know it's kind of, what? A role model? Well, you know what? I learned in my career that sometimes role models is just a fake PR piece, you know? So you look at someone and you, oh my God, I would love to see them. I would love to be like them. But then you kind of scratch a little bit, have the opportunity to see these people, and and you're like, no, I don't want to be like this. This is not me. This is not my value. They are not my values. This is not my personality. And then sometimes it's like, oh my God, I would like to be this kind of, yeah, but they have different background. They have a diverse experience. I just want to be the better version of myself in terms of value. I believe in, being open-minded. I believe in certain values, into integrities, into honesty, into, collaborations, into giving back. And I want this, to be my values in the next 10 years and make it more, being the role model of these values. That's why maybe it's kind of a strange answers, but for me, this is the best way to look at, at yourself and improve yourself on a daily basis.
Yeah, no, it's a super interesting way to think about it, and it makes a lot of sense. So next, just wanted to ask just about how you stay up to date on marketing trends. I guess you talked a little bit about that already, like in your morning routine, no? But
Well, I also kind of to add on to that, the reading is just to kind of keep an update on what's going on in the world. But on the other hand, I also have, once, twice a week, depending on my schedule, I book 1 hour or sometimes an hour, 45-minute slot to book myself into a new tool that I have, picked up online. Like this morning, I was having a call with a guy for 30 minutes on lead forensic, just the website, data thing, mining. Later tonight, I'm having a call with an algorithm Python's developers about how to analyze data and create the best, marketing models. So it's kind of keeping updated, not just by reading, but by practicing, meeting these people, asking the question. So I kind of try to be, I'm not going to say ahead of the game, but I like to keep myself, constantly updated on what are the novelties. So it's not taken by surprise, but also to make my life and my client life better. Because more you're aware of what's going on, how that works, you can make it fit into your journey. It can make you fit into your plan, and that's what I think is the best.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So not only reading, but from actual direct experiences of others, right? But speaking of reading, do you have any book recommendation for us?
Well, I think you asked me questions on that, and I'll have to. I'm not very good with memory, by the way. So I know that I mentioned a book I was currently reading, which was a Russian experience.
Yeah,
Oh
is
my
there? You sent one called Alchemy: The Dark Art and Curious Science of Creating Magic in
Oh, that's Rory
Brands.
Sutherland. This Rory Sutherland, he's a British author, but he was the vice president of Ogilvy Media. I run few webinars with him. The guy is amazing because I love him, the way that he kind of, his mindset, the way he approach, marketing strategies. And that's what I like about the collaboration. His books is kind of reflect the up-to-date mindset of a consumer behavior and how, from a psychological point of view, you can see it. And I had the pleasure to kind of meet him, work with him. If someone wants to know more about the consumer behavior from a psychological point of view and the emotional triggers, go and read this book. That's kind of one of the best market.
Yeah, great recommendation. And then the other book you mentioned is A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. Yeah.
That's more a French recommendation. So I'm not really a boring person reading a lot about, my industries or my field of expertise, but I'm more likely also to be the person who like to have some recommendations. So friend of mine, that's kind of the beauty of the pandemic positiveness, that we went, the kind of people start reading more. I love reading. I can spend a night reading sometimes, and they start, and when you have people and friends from all different backgrounds, countries. This one is Russian one. So my Russian friends was calling me and she's like, "You're gonna love this one. You're gonna love it because it's so psychological. Go through it. You will like it." And I read it on in a night, and
Mhm.
I was like, "Wow, different experience, different culture, different
Yeah.
way of politics." So very interesting.
Nice. Sounds like a page turner. I'll have to check it out. And then just lastly, wanted to ask if you recommend any other resources for marketers, whether it's a publication, podcasts, online community, tool, software tool, or anything like that.
I think that tools, depending on what they are looking for in their journey, where are they looking? I think that the way I look at it is that I try to attend as many webinars, or kind of, if they are recorded, I join them. I usually go onto LinkedIn groups, which have marketeers groups there. I join and I try to kind of keep a tab on what they are doing, what they are mentioning. I also found that I also that Rory Sutherland does podcast like you. He invite people who just started, or some other people who are in the business field, ask them questions. I unfortunately cannot attend all of his podcasts, or at least I can't listen to all of them. But sometimes he gives me a resume, which kind of works well sometimes. but because I'm very interested in the psychological aspect of the end users or the behavior. So that's kind of my little passion within the marketing field. I also recommend to the marketing magazine. So for the English speakers, which is published in the UK, they give you tips, novelties. I know exhibitions do not exist physically anymore, but you have few virtual exhibition. I don't know if I may say, but when I look at this what they the this founders, this companies like Kim, things, they spam you with a lot of information. You go into these conferences, you pay, and then there is no novelty. I feel like I'm cheated. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
would
Got to
probably
be.
say, if you do not have money to spend, don't go into this Neil Patel or Kim Larry. I think he's a very good guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not crazy. It's just that the way that pay that and you're gonna get access to. No, guys, if it's marketing, and you kind of promoting features, just give it for free, because the return will be the use of it, right? So that's how I believe it should be done. But that's my point of view.
Mhm. Yeah, no, totally. I get that. So we're reaching the end of the interview, and I just wanted to ask if you have any parting advice for other marketers in Europe, or final takeaways.
Oh my God, I would probably say that the only advice I can give anyone in the marketing field is that keep your passion. Because if you feel that in the morning you wake up and you don't want to go there, that means that the job is not interesting anymore. But keep the passion in it. It's not about money. It's not about prestige. It's not about ego. It's not about how much I am well known or whatever. It's about how much passion you put in it. Because within my 20 years, I still have people in my career calling me back, or connecting, or because I impacted them with the passion I put into the work I've done. You know, and that's what I found is the most interesting. People will not remember your name; they will not remember, who you are, where are you from, but what they will remember is the passion you put into making something happen, and that is really the reflect of a good marketeers. You can make so much with that. So that's kind
Hmm.
of my last tip.
Hmm. That's a great point and a great note to end on. And before we wrap up, I just wanted to ask you if anyone wants to learn more about what you do or get in touch, what's the best way to do that, about you or about SKLS Consulting?
Yeah, well, if anyone would like to get in touch, get free advice, because I do also side mentoring free for entrepreneurs, startups, anyone who is interested. I'm reachable on LinkedIn, where I'm actively working there. And you can find me as Yasmina Kazitani. And I'm happy to reply to you, answer your questions, or, get on a call and help you out.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, yeah, we'll definitely put the links to your LinkedIn to the into the SKLS Consulting website on our show notes on the blog post. So yeah, so people can find it there. And just wanted to say thank you, Yasmina, for sharing your insights with us today.
Thank you so much, Shaheen, for having me and supporting my, my marketing mind. Thanks a
Yeah.
lot for having me today.
Yeah, thank you. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the conversation. And
Me too.
thanks to everybody for listening in. For more perspectives on marketing in Europe, check out veracontent.com/mix and keep tuning into the podcast for more interviews like this one. See you next time. Bye-bye.